Someone asked, what is deep faith or deep trust? What is faith and trust? And we hear these words being thrown around often. And these words are very misunderstood because there's many meanings to these words. These words, faith and trust, have different meanings, and they're used in different settings and in different contexts. Some refer to faith as a replacement or synonymous with religion. When people say, well, what's your religion? Or what's your faith? Some use the word faith synonymously with belief or hope. You have to have faith. Just have faith. Just believe. Just hope. Some use trust in more of a scientific way, like trust the science. You got to trust this. Trusting the past. Trusting what's been repeated. Trusting what's known. Trusting what's familiar. So many different meanings, different usages, different contexts. Well, what's this faith or trust? People also say that they have faith in God. People also say that they trust the universe. Now, in this way, it's pointing to something beyond yourself. It's pointing to something greater than yourself. Now, in this context, we see that faith and trust is really surrender. That if you use faith or trust in this way, what you are saying is that you are surrendering to God, or you are surrendering to the universe. So it's this letting go of control. It's letting go of this doership. It's letting go of the struggle. That I have faith in God. Well, if God is in control of my destiny, what am I here on earth struggling, fighting for? So to have faith is to surrender that struggle. It's to stop fighting with God. You surrender your plan. How is there God's plan in your plan? Or when people say, just trust the universe. But when you're fighting the universe, the odds aren't looking too good for you. So it's surrendering. That battle. Battling the universe every day. It's as if you wake up and pick a fight with the universe. But having trust in the universe, it's this surrender. If this is what's happening right now, then it's just what is. This is what the universe is doing right now, shooting this video. So I'm not going to go fight against the universe. That would be foolish. That's a battle I'm not going to win. We typically experience a lot of this fight, this battle, this struggle before these words like faith and trust really mean anything beyond those other meanings that I mentioned at the start of the video. But if you really experience what these words are pointing to, that these words like faith and trust are really pointing to, that which is not a thing. It's a subjective experience. That when there's this surrender, when there's this deep trust, this deep faith, something's not arising. There's no fight in you. There's nothing that's standing up protesting against God. There's nothing that's standing up that's saying, I don't like the universe. That's what is being surrendered. That's what's essentially bowing down in a way. It's bowing down to that which is greater. This ego, which is constantly resisting life, constantly at war with God, the universe, whatever name you have. But the experience that these words are pointing to is really experience when you come to the realization that your way is not working. That how you are living, it's not working. So in a way, it feels like defeat. That essentially you give in when you are at that place, rock bottom, where you feel like you are defeated. So it's like this losing battle that you've been going a certain way, living a certain way, and you're just exhausted. You're tired of the battle. You're tired of struggling. You're exhausted from fighting. So it just kind of feels like I'm done with this. I don't have any more of that fight in me. So if my life is supposed to be this, then I'm in agreement. See, my entire life, I've always been in disagreement with God, or I've been in disagreement with the universe. So I've said this before, that surrender is kind of like this: if you can't beat them, then join them. If you can't beat God, then join God. If you can't beat the universe, then join the universe. And in that way, we refer to it as these kind of words that we're using, like faith. I have faith. I'm trusting the universe. And in this surrender, you have this feeling of being okay. It's actually more than okay. It feels like okay at first, but it's actually this deep sense of well-being. That when there's the surrender of that resistance, the surrender of the fight, the surrender of the battle, the surrender of the struggle, there's actually this well-being. There's this feeling of being nurtured and nourished in the moment. It's not something that's happening later. And when this is a living experience, when you continue to be in agreement with God or the universe, you're essentially living in the state of surrender. So if there's nothing in you that's in resistance to what is God's will or the universe, pick whatever words you like, God or the universe. But when you aren't in resistance to that, there's actually no separation. There's no you and God. There's no you and the universe. There's just simply this. That experience is experienced as just life, the flow of life. That's experienced here now, this present moment. You aren't in resistance to this present moment. That actually, in that surrender, you are living totally. You are experiencing the totality of this moment. You are in 100% full agreement to this moment. And in that surrender, you experience yourself. You experience happiness. You experience love. You experience peace. You experience freedom. You're not experiencing unhappiness. You're not experiencing suffering, because that would be the resistance to what is. That would be objecting to what is. You're not experiencing separation, because that activity that was always arising, saying, I don't like this, I don't want this, no, I want something different. That is what's surrendered. And without that activity, there's nothing that's separating this. There's only just this. So without separation, the experience is love. You usually experience as just a love for what is, a love for life. You only experience love when surrendered, in that state of surrendering. In that state of surrendering, in that state of surrender, there's no conflict. So there's peace. You are at peace, which is again, what these words are pointing to, when you say, I have faith in God, it's like you've come to terms with how your life is. I have faith that God will take care of me. You're at peace. You've come to terms with your life as it is. There's this reassurance, this safety, this nourishment, this sense of well-being in that faith, in that trust. I'm trusting the universe. If something needs to happen, I'm trusting that the resources are going to be here in order for that to be executed, to be done. There's not me that's separate from the universe, seeing that everything is one whole. Without these trees, well, I wouldn't be breathing. Without the soil, well, I wouldn't have the food. Without the food, I wouldn't have the body. Everything is interdependent. And you can't find any sort of border or boundary that divides this activity that we call the universe. So you're not standing apart from the universe. When you start experiencing that you are the universe, that you aren't separate from it, then you see how everything is actually being taken care of. And if you are experiencing that you are that activity that we call the universe, that you are the universe, that you aren't separate from it, you're not experiencing limits. Where would you be experiencing limits? If you are the universe, if you are one with God, where would you be experiencing these limits? Without limits, we call that freedom. So like I said, the experience is not an objective experience. It's a non-objective experience. When surrender is experienced, it's a non-objective experience. And in that experience, you are experiencing yourself as happiness, love, peace, and freedom. And that's what really these words, faith and trust, are pointing to. That having faith or having trust is really saying the same as being surrendered. That you're surrendering who you think you are. You're surrendering what you call your life. Not my will, but thy will. So in that surrender, who you think you are is no more. And what you are experiencing is what you actually are. What you actually are is the happiness, the love, the peace, the freedom that you are seeking. So, good question. Hopefully that helps. And I'll see you in the next one.